Unbelievable Player Trophy presented by Chevrolet. Is there any doubt? Corey Seager.
Hi, and welcome to another edition of Right on Rangers Live, coming at you after a 5-4 loss, walk-off style. A's get it done in the bottom of the ninth inning. They do what the Rangers could not do. Ninth inning, Rangers had their opportunities. We're going to talk about it here in a little bit. It was definitely a game that was there for the taking, and this game went a little bit off script, if you know what I mean. The Rangers, they absolutely are not known, at least in 2024, for the comeback victories. Looked like they were maybe going to get an all-elusive and ever-elusive comeback win in 2024. We're going to get into all the scoring, the highlights, some of the key moments, go through some of the players of the game on each side. But first, here at Right on Rangers, we cover everything sports, but we put a big emphasis on all the teams we love from the great state of Texas, including the Rangers, and especially the Rangers during baseball season. And we are in the last week of baseball season right here, trying to enjoy every last minute of Rangers baseball. They're making it a little hard on us at times to do that, but we are going to try and see the positives in this final week of the year nonetheless. Still some great baseball ahead in October. It'll be nice seeing the Astros lose in the first or second round. You know, just had to get that in there, of course. Be nice to watch some of these excellent baseball teams compete in October. Look, whether the Rangers are in it or not, I'm a baseball fan, true and true. Love October baseball. Not going to get greedy. Rangers win it all last year. They'll regroup. 2025, a new year, hopefully a healthier year, a year of a little bit less regression and underperformance as well. Look, I appreciate all of y'all tuning in, whether you're watching live or on the replay. It hadn't been easy to tune in after all of these games. The L's have stacked up in some places this season, but you know what? The true fans don't go away just when the weather gets a little bit rough. So appreciate all y'all. Thank you for choosing Right on Rangers for your post-game, in-game, off-season content. Appreciate all y'all. Okay, let's get into it. By the way, I'll check comments real quick. Natalie, what's up? Thanks for tuning in. We're going to talk a little Wyatt Langford. Big moment for him in the ninth inning. Natalie says Wyatt's got to stay disciplined. His defense is definitely better than at the beginning of the year. Definitely something that they're going to have to get him in the lab with, so to speak. Wyatt definitely has some refining to do defensively and up at the plate as well. I think we're seeing the kind of hitter that Wyatt can be down the stretch. He's had a very good September. Tonight was not the best night for Wyatt, and we're going to talk about why in just a little bit. But Natalie, appreciate the comment. Thanks for tuning in. Tristan, same. I am very excited for Thursday. Cowboys play the Giants. We will most likely be doing a double up on Thursday. We will do the Rangers and Cowboys at the same time. I think they're going to get done at close to about the same time, too. Rangers might go a little bit later because they are out in Anaheim, I believe. But we'll go double up on Thursday night football. Cowboys playing in New Jersey against the Giants. Rangers, I believe, will be out in Anaheim playing the Angels, that last series of the season. So that'll be a fun day Thursday. Tristan, thanks for tuning in, man. Appreciate you. What's up to everybody on TikTok, by the way? Yeah, the Tigers. Andrew, what's up, man? The Tigers, what they did is a pretty miraculous thing. Their turnaround, I think, is definitely one that you have to appreciate a ton. A ton. Tigers getting their way into the playoffs here. It's not over yet, but the Tigers do appear that they are going to be making it into October, which, look, you looked what at the standings in July. I don't know if anybody had that one on their bingo card. Let's see. Another comment. Go Astros. Yeah, right. Y'all are going to lose first round or maybe before. I wish that was possible. No, I'm not an Astros fan. I don't know what might have clued you into that. Maybe the Rangers hat, the shirt. I mean, I know you're probably going for sarcasm there, but I think you could have done a little bit better. Ty, I'm not going to lie to you. The sarcasm could have been a little bit better, buddy. All right. Look, I wondered if we were going to get some Astros fans in the chat today. I know the Astros clinched the AL West. Here's my take on that. Here's my take on the Astros clinching the AL West. You do remember what happened last year, right? You remember. You celebrated the AL West and you lost to the Rangers. You got your teeth kicked in at home by the Rangers. So I'm not too worried about the Astros clinching the meaningless AL West title. Prove it in the playoffs. Prove it, right? You lost in the ALCS to a team that you had 2 home games against in Game 6 and Game 7. Prove it in the playoffs. Who cares about the AL West title? Nobody. We thought the AL West title mattered last year. It really didn't. So that's what I got to say to any Astros fan tonight that's happy about the AL West title. Feels like they need to rub it in a little bit to Rangers fans. Y'all do remember what happened last year, right? You won the AL West. It didn't go great. So, look, Astros have got a good team. I don't purposefully come out and spew hatred against the Astros. It just happens when the fans happen to come into the chat. I'm innocent. I really don't ever start these shows on Astros tirades unless we're playing them. But I will say this. Astros have a good team. As much as some Astros fans have their head in the clouds about the pitching situation, let's be honest. The Astros have Valdez, and maybe you throw in Kikuchi, maybe Hunter Brown. I'm seeing some Hunter Brown stretching. Just because Hunter Brown is having a good August and September does not mean October is going to go well. Look, I got to say, I'm a little worried about the Astros pitching. And that's me trying to be objective as possible. That offense will play. Astros have a great offense. Envious of the offense that the Astros have, to be completely honest, especially with Kyle Tucker back in the mix. So let me give some props. I'm not totally oblivious, blinded by my Rangers fandom. I can appreciate the Astros and what they put together offensively. I just really do not know if that pitching is going to hold up. Look, Verlander, maybe he flips on a switch. Maybe Hunter Brown stays totally locked in October. He's been good down the stretch here in August and September. I just don't know on the big stage, bright lights, great offenses night in and night out. That's what you see in October. We'll see if the Astros pitching is up for it. I think the offense is going to be able to hang with just about any team, though. So I think that pitching is going to be the factor for me. Let me keep going here. Rory, what's up? Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, Diamondbacks are definitely my team in the NL that I'm cheering for. I would love to see the Diamondbacks go back to the World Series, win it. They're definitely the team that I'm going to be cheering for to go all the way. I don't have the Diamondbacks as my prediction. My prediction for a long time has been Orioles, Dodgers. We'll see if that ends up happening. But O's Dodgers is what I've said. Haven't picked a winner in that one yet. I'm going to let things play out a little bit before I pick a winner in that World Series. But O's Dodgers for me. We'll see what happens. I definitely would love to see the Diamondbacks, though. I mean, look, I can feel the Diamondbacks' pain as a Rangers fan, making it all the way to the World Series and losing. That happened twice to the Rangers in 2010 and 2011. Be fun to see the Diamondbacks avenge that loss. Anything can happen. Nobody thought Diamondbacks Rangers last year. So what is 2024 going to have in store for us in the postseason? Again, Rangers are out, but I cannot turn off playoff baseball. I just can't. I love the drama. It's one of my favorite times of the year. So even though Texas not in it this year, going to enjoy some playoff baseball. I'm sure there's going to be some great moments. There always are. We'll see what happens. Texas Repo, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you. Let me skip down to another one of your comments here. It's talking about Houston here. Houston will make it work, Texas Repo says, even without Verlander. They're going to have to. I think the offense will play. Like, you got that murderer's row at the top of the lineup. You got Altuve. You got Alvarez, Bregman, Tucker. I mean, look, that top of the order is among the best that any team can offer in the postseason. So I think the Astros definitely are going to be able to hang on that side of the ball. the pitching to me, kind of like honestly in the ALCS, right? The pitching really did not hold up in the ALCS for the Astros. Rangers were able to hit around some of the starters, and that was a big reason why the Astros lost in 7 games. Will they be able to hold up over a course of 1, 2, 3 series? Now, I believe, and I haven't looked at the standings. I'm going to try and check this out right now. Looking at the standings, don't know if the Astros are going to be in that bye slot or not. I haven't looked at how the other 2 teams in the Central have done here, regular or in the Central and in the East. So Yankees 92. So Astros are going to be playing in the first round, right? Astros are going to be playing in the first round against one of the wild card teams. They are not going to have probably not going to finish with a better record than Yankees or the Guardians. It could happen, right? With some kind of meltdown, maybe, I don't know. I never was a math guy, but we'll see. It looks like Astros are at 86, Guardians and Yankees are at 91, 92. So no, I don't think the Astros have any way of making it into that first round bye slot. Maybe it'll work out for them. Honestly, maybe it'll work out for them. Who knows? It happened to the Rangers last year, had to play that first wild card round, went just fine. So Astros happen to play in the first round. I don't even think is the most terrible thing. So we'll see what happens. I'm curious. Playoff baseball is awesome. I live for it. Somebody on TikTok, Rondo, what's up? Yankees will win the World Series. Yankees are another team. I really just don't know if I trust the starting pitching. I love Judge. I love Soto. I think those guys are going to be able to mash against any rotation, but I don't know about the pitching. You got Garrett Cole, and then who else? Who's going to step up and be that dog number 2? I just don't know. And you don't know in the playoffs, especially with some of the guys that the Yankees have. You've got some untested dudes, playoff time. I just don't know. Yankees are not my pick out of the AL. I like Baltimore. I do, but I really don't know if they are going to bounce back from what happened to them last October. I could see them being resilient, rebounding after getting swept by the Rangers in the divisional round. I could see them folding again. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Let me keep going here. So we've got a number of different comments that I want to make it to, and we are going to break down this Rangers game just a little bit. But I appreciate all of y'all tuning in and all the comments. They help make the show. And just know I will try and get to every single comment that you put in, unless we get some ridiculousness. Well, I see some of that already going on right now on YouTube. I'll just keep scrolling. But look, I'll try and get to everything of substance. Let me add that in. Natalie, going back to Wyatt Langford, there's catches that Wyatt has made in the last month that he wouldn't have made in May. I agree. Wyatt Langford has progressed. I wouldn't say that he has maintained or taken a step back this year. I think we have seen steps forward. Just want to continue to see the bat, the power come around. And yes, better routes in the outfield. Hopefully more confidence built in the lab in the offseason, so to speak. Wyatt Langford, by the way, let's just get right into it, right? Really, really tough play, tough opportunity for Wyatt today. 9th inning. You got first and third for Wyatt, and you've got 1 out in the tie game in the 9th inning. It's a 4-4 game. Jonah Heim had just tied it in the 8th inning on a solo shot, and that ball was mashed. That was an impressive home run by Jonah Heim. But the top of the 9th, you get Jankowski striking out swinging to lead off, Simeon singles, Josh Smith singles. So you've got first and third, 1 out for Wyatt Langford, and it's Mason Miller. So yes, we do take the at-bat with a small grain of salt. Miller is a really, really tough at-bat on anybody. And look, a 6-pitch at-bat, a quality at-bat. We've talked about that on the show. In all of my years playing coaching, all the good coaches that I ever had, 6+ pitches seen in an at-bat. That is definitely something that you can hold your head high about. Yes, of course, you want to get on base, but making the pitcher throw 6+, that is a quality at bat, and that is something to strive for. Wyatt Langford seeing 6 pitches from Mason Miller. You had a swinging strike on a high fastball. Would have been ball 4. Frustrating. Wyatt's got to put the ball in play there or has to lay off the high cheese. It's easier said than done against Miller, but you just cannot strike out first and third, 1 out. You've got to put the ball on the ground. You figure Wyatt Langford puts the ball on the ground, it's an automatic run unless they're coming home. I really, really feel like that was the moment. Doli not able to get the job done either. First and third, 2 outs. Doli flies out to right field. So the Rangers had their opportunity, and it just wasn't a surprise then with not taking advantage there that Josh Sborz comes in, his first start, his first relief appearance off the IL, and has a little bit of a rough inning. So Josh Sborz, bottom of the 9th, right away, sharp line drive from Geloff. Brown strikes out swinging, but Geloff steals in the process. Yeah, everybody's been stealing on the Rangers this year, something they have to address in the offseason. Jacob Wilson then promptly singles home the game-winning run on a ground ball to center field. And that's what happens with the steals. You've got teams just stealing second base at will against the Rangers. It sets up moments like what we just saw. It sets up moments where now all you need is a base hit off of a single, really, in order to win the game. Right? All you had was a base knock. You steal second easily. It was actually a fairly close play, but nonetheless, just kind of same old for the Rangers in the run game. Not really able to take advantage themselves in the run game. And basically, it's candy from a baby if you're trying to steal a base from the Rangers. It's candy from a baby right now. It really is. So I think the Rangers have got to make that a priority in the offseason. I'm sure that they are. But I would love to see in the offseason some tweaks, both from a pitching perspective, holding base runners on, but the catchers have not been great either. I mean, you can't blame the pitchers exclusively for all these stolen bases. I think at one point, maybe I was more on that page. The pitchers have got to do a better job of holding guys on. Now, at this point, I'm pretty much off that page and on to, I think everybody's got to be a little bit better here. Texas Repo going back here. Astros aren't scared of the Guardians or any other team. No, I don't think anybody's really scared of anybody at this point. I mean, I don't know. If you are as good as the Guardians, the Yankees, you're as good as all these wild card teams are, the Tigers. I don't think anybody's scared of anybody. Why would you be at this point in the baseball season? Why would you be scared of anyone? You just had the Diamondbacks and the Rangers show you last year. None of the big names really matter. I mean, you just got to go out there, play the game. I mean, look, there is nobody, I think, at this point that needs to be scared of anyone. So I don't know. I know some people like to get into that mental warfare side of things. I just think at this point, you're just playing baseball. The Rangers, Diamondbacks showed that perfectly last year. It doesn't matter if you're going up against Baltimore, Astros. Doesn't matter who you're going up against. You're just playing the game that you played all season long. And, hey, you had to be good enough to get there. So if you don't have belief and faith in yourself at that point when you're standing there playing ball in October, what are you really doing? That's my take on that. And I do agree with Jesse here, skipping around here a little bit. It's pretty wide open this year. Again, I don't think anybody needs to be scared of anybody. There's really, in my opinion, no dominant team this year in baseball. And that's evidenced by the fact that there was no 100-win team. I mean, is anybody really scared of the Yankees, Judge, and Soto? Sure. Look, the Astros, the lineup is absolutely legit, but I'm not scared of the Astros pitching at all. I mean, there's nothing to be afraid of with the Astros pitching. Valdez is good. The other guys having nice seasons doesn't strike fear in your heart, and it shouldn't. There's nobody this year that I would be saying, if the Rangers were in it, there's nobody this year that I'd be saying, I really don't want to play them. I'd be fine to play the Astros, Orioles, the Guardians. I'd be fine to play any of those teams. There's no team this year on either side in the NL or the AL that I really would not want to play. And we're going to break down some of this more when we do our weekly show once the regular season ends. We'll cover some playoff baseball as well. And occasionally we might go live here and there a little bit more than our weekly, just depending on what's going on. We'll have to see what happens. But I'll absolutely be talking some October baseball on the weekly pod that we do during the off season. But perhaps a couple of emergency podcasts will be needed depending on the playoff results in October. We'll see what happens. But let me keep going here. Natalie says Evo is a priority from what I've heard. Yeah, I think getting a little bit into free agents. Look, Nate Eovaldi, to me, did not have the perfect ending to the season that you would have liked going into what's essentially a free agency year from him. I mean, Nate Eovaldi has a player option that was activated based on meeting an innings count in his contract. So I think that Evo is still absolutely going to be a guy the Rangers pursue. I think for me, I would have liked to have seen him have a stronger end to the year. Don't know if the mental side of things played a factor with Evo. Like, these games really are just kind of tune-up games, if you will, at this point. The Rangers are playing meaningless baseball right now. From the perspective of it's not contributing to October or any kind of playoff berth. Not meaningless in the sense of you are trying to build positive momentum for 2025. Some guys take that upon themselves a little bit better than others. Some guys can stay locked in and grind out all of these games that are essentially meaningless for the sake of playoff baseball, for the purposes of playoff baseball. But some guys, I think, have a tougher time doing that. I don't know if Evo is one of those guys. I don't want to get on here and try and imply that he's mentally weak in any kind of way. But at the same time, I think you have seen since the Rangers have kind of fallen off, Evo, I feel like, has been a little bit more human than what he normally is. Look, might just be this kind of season. Evo's dealt with some injuries. I know he's pitching probably with some aches and pains, just like everybody's playing with aches and pains right now. But I still think the Rangers will go after Evo and will make him a priority in the offseason. Let me keep going here. Let me see here. Renegade, what's up? If you're still tuned in, I'm a Rangers fan. I'm pulling for the Astros to keep the trophy in Texas. I don't know about that. Rangers fans, can we talk about this? Can you really cheer for the Rangers and the excuse is you want to keep the trophy in Texas? Is that a real thing? Can we stop this pod for a second and just ponder this question? Because as a diehard Rangers fan, I could not disagree more. You are not going to find me cheering for the Astros just so the trophy can stay in Texas. Just like I wouldn't cheer for Texas A&M as a Longhorns fan because the Longhorns are out of it and A&M has a chance to win a natty. That'll never happen, by the way. But I will say this. I'm not going to be cheering for Houston. There's too much rivalry. The bad blood is too great. I'm not cheering for the Astros to win a championship. They've already got two. One of them was in the cheater year. One, I think we can say, was legitimate. I'm not cheering for the Astros. No, sir. I hope that the Astros get knocked out first round. Just like, can we be honest? Just like Astros fans would love to see the Rangers and are loving that the Rangers aren't in the playoffs. How many Astros fans did you see hop on social media when the Rangers were officially eliminated? I mean, that's got to tell you something. Astros fans aren't cheering for the Rangers to make it all the way. Come on now. I mean, come on now. So I'm not cheering for the Astros to win a natty. Can't do it. Won't do it. Won't do it. Let me keep going here. So we've got a few others. The typical 2023 was a fluke. There's no flukes in baseball when you win a championship. There's no flukes. That's something you say when you're a butthurt fan that got knocked out by the Rangers in 2023. Anybody that's saying the Rangers are a fluke is just butthurt that their team didn't win it in 2023. I mean, you don't even need to break it down even more complexly than that. It's just butthurtedness, as I like to say. T-Money, what's up? Not sure what our options are at catcher. Brutal. Look, Heim has a nice game tonight. He does seem to show out against his former team, the Oakland A's. I think you've got to look at re-signing Carson Kelly or going outside of the organization and picking up a free agent. I don't know if there's any catchers right now that are major league ready. I would probably say no. Clearly, we drafted a catcher in the first round of the draft this last year, so we'll see what happens. We'll definitely see what happens, but I do think the Rangers have to figure out what is wrong with Jonah Heim, or they have to figure out an alternative for Heim at the catcher position. Have to. Let me keep going. I'm going to go back to comments on YouTube, Facebook, X, all that good stuff. John says, I was kind of okay with the A's walking us off tonight. Sucks that Oakland is losing their team. Yeah, they've been there for a long time, 50 plus years, like 54, 55 years in Oakland. Look, for the fans' sake, I think that is the feel-good moment. Last series at home for the A's. Look, I maybe y'all saw the letter that John Fisher, the A's owner, put out. I don't know who that dude has writing for him. And clearly these owners have ghostwriters that are writing these kinds of letters for them. And maybe they take a final look before it gets sent out to social media and to the media in general. But I don't know. That letter I thought was pretty pathetic. I definitely don't want to waste a lot of time breaking it down, but to me, just a lot of yapping, a lot of talk, a lot of unnecessary fluff. The reality is this is a business decision for John Fisher. He doesn't care that much about what the fans wanted or what the fans want in this case. Whatever efforts were made to keep the team in Oakland, clearly they didn't want it to happen that badly. If you're an owner and you love the city and you want to keep the team in the city, you're going to maybe overpay a little bit yourself, do everything possible to keep the team there. But we also have to keep in mind these owners collaborate, commiserate together. They want to establish public funding. And I don't want to get in too much to this. This is kind of some what we like to call minutia that not all casual fans care about. But the owners want there to be as much public money coming into a new stadium project as possible. And no owner wants to be the guy that establishes more private money coming from the ownership group. So if John Fisher overpays on his end, well, now you've set a negative precedent for other owners that you've got to follow suit with what John Fisher did. So John Fisher is holding out. He doesn't want to spend his own private money because then you set a bad precedent for the rest of the owners when it comes time for their stadium. So it's just kind of disingenuous, the letter that came out today. If it's me, I'm saying, look, we didn't get a deal done. This is a business move, and it is what it is. I mean, it would be better, I think, to just be a little bit cold instead of putting out a bunch of fluff that's just going to get ripped apart anyways. I don't know. Just my 2 cents on that whole issue. But John, I appreciate this sentiment for sure. I will go live during the offseason. Natalie, thanks for this comment. I'll go live during the offseason for any acquisition. So that is something that I think that I've shared in the past, but I'll just keep plugging it. So we're going to try and do a weekly show. I think every Wednesday is tentatively what I'm planning on, but I'm going to make a formal announcement about it after the season comes to an end, when I've really get a chance to kind of flush it all out, kind of take a breath from all of the Rangers in-season content. But I'm thinking a weekly Wednesday show, which obviously is going to be available on replay if Wednesday doesn't work for you. I'll have it on Apple, on Spotify as well. But anytime the Rangers make a big move, a trade, an acquisition, anytime there's maybe a big rumor even that's swirling around or a big report that drops, don't be surprised if I pop on for maybe 15 to 30 minutes, something like that, to talk it out with you guys. If we go longer than that, we go longer. But I'm really looking forward to the offseason show, start building excitement for 2025. It's going to be a good year next year. I know that maybe sounds rich coming from a Rangers fan, a diehard Rangers fan. But look, I think the Rangers have a lot working for them next season. You've got a full year of DeGrom. Y'all have heard me say this, so I know I sound like a broken record. Full year of Josh Young, Evan Carter, full year of Malley. You've got a full year, hopefully, of Kumar Rocker pitching at a high level. there's a lot of positives for 2025. And then you just hope the Rangers make a couple of acquisitions in the free agent or trade market. We'll see what happens. Let me keep going here. Jesse says, after the first ever 50-50 season, who could be next? Man, I don't even know. I don't even know who could be next. You know who I think could do it? But maybe this is a super deep cut. Like if you're asking me about a Rangers player, I don't know if there's really one, but I think Wyatt Langford would be a guy that could do 50-50, possibly. But I don't know if there's anybody else that's even close. Wyatt Langford is a super deep cut, by the way. I don't know if there's anybody else in baseball I could really think of that's going to go 50-50. Acuna did the 40-70, so maybe you could say Ronald Acuna. But look, anybody, any name that I throw out there is just somebody that I think maybe could have a shot or get close. The power speed combo. But let's be completely honest. There's a reason why nobody's ever gotten 50-50. There's a reason. All right, we'll keep going here. Rangers should pick up Tyler O'Neill from Boston. My only thing that I've said, and Vortex Vibes, appreciate all the comments tonight. Thanks for tuning in. My only thing about guys like Tyler O'Neill, and I've said this all season long, I would love to see the Rangers put a bigger emphasis on contact and less of an emphasis on big hit potential. So right now, I think the Rangers have a lot of guys that are big hit potential, not a lot of guys that are contact hitters, put the ball in play. We have a lot of guys right now that are big hit or strikeout or weak pop-up. And I would just love to see guys get acquired that put the ball in play more. I feel like Tyler O'Neill is kind of an Adolis type. And look, if you bring Adolis back next year, I don't know if I want another guy in the outfield that is basically the same player that Adolis Garcia is. Tyler O'Neill is a power guy. I think he's got a pretty solid arm out there in the outfield. Don't know what the route running is like and the defensive play beyond the arm, but Tyler O'Neill feels like Adolis Garcia 2.0 to me. I think Tyler O'Neill had a little bit of a better year than Doli. I'd have to look at the stats, but I would like to see the Rangers go and get more of a guy that, for lack of a better expression, is a dude that hits doubles and singles. I would rather acquire a doubles, singles type guy, a guy that can drive the ball out of the park here and there. But I don't think we need to go out and get another guy that's all power and we're either getting a pop-up, a strikeout, or a big hit. I mean, I would much rather see a guy that hits double singles with the occasional home run, just put the ball in play, versus a guy that is kind of an all or nothing. That's the kind of free agent guy that I'm keying in on. I will make an exception for a guy like Anthony Santander, who I have been a huge fan of for multiple seasons now. I would like to see the Rangers go out and get Santander from Baltimore. I think that would be a great piece to have in your lineup, a lefty hitter. So right now, as it stands, you've got Simeon, you've got Seager. You've also, of course, got some other good righties, Josh Young. You add Santander in that mix. I think that sounds like a great lineup to me. I don't know how active the Rangers are going to be spending the big money, and Santander is going to command a pretty big contract. So that does scare me a little bit, but I'd love to see that happen. Let me keep going here. Some fans said trade Josh Young, Natalie. What? Trade Josh Young. Trade Adolis Garcia. Trade Leote. Come on now. You're not trading Josh Young. It's ridiculous. Ridiculous. I don't know who those people are. I don't know what is prompting them to say that. The injuries are just not enough for me to want to have to trade him. Ugh. I can't even believe that. Definitely not cheering for the Astros, John says, to keep the trophy in Texas. Anybody but them. Yes, sir. Yeah, maybe Ellie De La Cruz, Acuna, Jesse, I would say those are the guys I think maybe could be 50-50. We'll see what happens. Vortex Vibes. I think Juan Soto is a pipe dream. I don't think the Rangers are even going to be touching Juan Soto in contract talks. I mean, maybe, but I just can't see it happening. I don't think they're going to be touching Juan Soto in the contract discussions there. We'll see what happens. And then why are we still starting our star pitchers when we're already out? Look, I think at this point, you probably are just going off what the guys tell you. Like, I guarantee if DeGrom was like, hey, I really feel good about what I did my first 2 starts. I really want to just shut it down and focus on 25. I'm pretty sure they'd honor that. So I think right now, Vortex, they're just kind of going off of what the guys want to do. I can imagine if any of the pitchers were at all fatigued or complaining in any way, the organization and the coaching staff would probably be pretty accommodating. Yet, the one edit I'll make to this list, Vortex, by the way, I do live in Las Vegas. I'm a big Las Vegas Golden Knights fan. The Stars are my childhood team. I cheered for them for many years. I still love seeing the Stars do well. And I know the Knights and the Stars have had their tussles back and forth over the years, but I do love the Dallas Stars. But if I'm being completely 100, the Golden Knights are my favorite team, being that I've been out here in Las Vegas for such a long time. Hard not to cheer for the Golden Knights, especially their crazy 2017 run right out the gate. First year as a franchise. That was an incredible year. And of course, it coincided with a really tragic event here in Vegas. Some of you remember the mass shooting that took place on the Strip here in 2017, killed 40 or 50 people at a country music festival. That was the very first season ever for the Golden Knights. Just a super crazy uniting thing for the city. So, look, I know the Knights and the Stars have a little bit of bad blood with their playoff battles over the years, but the Stars doing well never bothers me. Look, when they beat the Knights last year, I'm not going to lie, it took me a couple days to recover, but that's because I love my team so much. But I got over it, cheered for the Stars the rest of the way. If the Stars are not playing the Knights, absolutely Stars 100% of the way. So let me keep going here. Texas, win or lose. Love my Rangers and Longhorns and Cowboys, Mavericks. Tristan, you just nailed it. Win or lose, right? It'd be easy to not show up on nights like tonight. And you guys know I've shown up on some pretty bad nights, and I'm not trying to sit here and pat myself on the back too much. But the true fans, you got to stick around even when it gets a little tough. And that is what we do here at Right on Rangers. And that's the group we got going here too. Jesse, yes. More contact, guys. Look, I know the long ball gets a lot of attention, but I would love to see more of an emphasis on contact in Major League Baseball. Quality at bats, less on the launch angle, more just on base hits. That would be phenomenal. I don't think Carter's all or nothing either, Natalie. I don't think Langford really is to an extent. I think you do see Langford pop up a little too much. I would like to see them work on him hitting the ball, line drive on the ground a little bit more. And as I've said on the show, if you have it in your mind that you are going to be getting the ball in the air, I do think that you tend to pop things up if you're not able to get the sweet spot and launch the ball at the angle that you want. I think if you have the mentality to hit the ball on the ground, the line drives start coming. They do. They start coming, and the line drives turn into balls in the gap and home runs eventually. So I would like to see more of an emphasis on this, no doubt. I just don't want to see us acquire another guy that's kind of an all or nothing type. John says next year, Langford, Carter, Adolis. Hopefully Adolis platooning with somebody, John. I think that's what you mean. I do not want to see Doli as a 150-plus game starter. I just don't. I want to see them go get somebody that can help spell Langford, Carter, because Carter's not going to be an everyday guy. I really don't think, unless Carter just absolutely tears it up in spring training. I still, even then, don't think that they're going to make him an everyday guy. So you do need another outfielder. And you can imagine one of those guys is probably going to get nicked up at some point. You can't be stuck. And we love El Blondie, but you can't be stuck with the Travis Jankowski type to fill that void. You got to go upgrade the outfield depth a little bit. Young Seager, Simeon, Lowe. I don't know what they're going to do with Nate Lowe. I really don't. You're seeing the power come on a little bit late. Has Nate Lowe had a decent enough September to warrant him continuing to be the 150-plus game starter guy? Look, I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do with Nate. I'd like to see them be proactive in the first base market, see if there's anybody out there that they can get. The only thing is, at this point, if you go out and you get a first baseman, I really don't see a benefit in keeping Nate Lowe around. So it is kind of a weird spot where I think you either go get a first baseman and you deal Nate Lowe, or you let him go, or you just kind of leave it like it is. And you just hope that somebody else in the lineup can pick up a little bit of slack. So for me, I just think if you go out and get that big first base name, whoever is out there, you're probably not going to want to keep Nate Lowe as a bench option. You want guys on the bench that are versatile. Nate Lowe is pretty much first baseman or nothing else. I don't think they're trying to transition him to an outfielder or anything like that. So I think if you go out and get any first baseman in free agency or trade, Nate Lowe is probably going to be gone. Heim, I think that you definitely are going to have to see if you can get him back in the lab. I know we've been using that expression, but you got to get Heim back in the lab in the offseason. You got to tweak the pop time and you got to tweak the release, getting more runners out. You know, we cannot have this many steals next year. It is such a killer. And then the bat. I don't know what went wrong with Jonah Heim's swing this year. Maybe I can do some deep breakdowns on what was going wrong with some of these players in the regression in the offseason. I'll have a little bit more time, but they got to fix the swing and they got to fix the run game with Jonah Heim. And I do think they would be wise to get somebody else in the mix, either Carson Kelly, somebody that can challenge Jonah Heim, not just be a guy that gets all 150 plus games. I would love to see them go challenge him with getting somebody else that can competitively play the catcher position in 2025. Keep going here. Langford, the only outfielder I could see playing every day. I don't know. I have a bad feeling, and I'm not trying to put this out there, guys, but I just have a bad feeling that Doli is going to become or start out as an everyday player. Maybe we still acquire somebody that is solid, that could potentially be like that spot starter every third, fourth day when somebody needs a rest. But I just have a bad feeling they're going to trot Doli back out there for 150 plus games and really bank on him rebounding. I would love to be wrong, but that is what I sense they're going to do with the Dolis Garcia. So if I'm betting, if I'm gambling right now, I'm keeping my expectations very low that Adolis Garcia is going to be platooned or replaced. Do I think that it needs to happen? Yes. I would like to see Adolis stick around. I don't think we need to deal him per se, but I do think that we need to get somebody that can platoon with him and give him some time here and there out in the outfield. We'll see what happens. I'm not getting my hopes up. I'm not holding my breath that the Rangers are going to go out and acquire somebody of that caliber that can compete and replace Doli. But I think, yeah, right now, it's probably Wyatt Langford as your only everyday guy. Yeah, Ozuna, I think potentially you could go out and get a guy like that. The 310 average, not bad. 39 homers, I like that. I'd have to look at Ozuna's stats over the years. Let me see if maybe I can pull those up real quick. So, yeah, 309 average. Let's see. He's got this year 31 doubles, and you've got 181 hits overall. Yeah, he is 33 years old, so you are getting a little bit of an older player. What kind of contract is Ozuna going to want? He's kind of in that, hey, you want like a 3-year deal to get you into your upper 30s. I don't know who's going to be willing to give him what he wants, but I just don't know. But look, back-to-back seasons, 100 RBIs for Marcell Ozuna. We'll see what happens there. But he definitely would be a guy that, if available, I think the Rangers could definitely be interested in. I think, again, my pick would be Santander, but I don't know what the Rangers are going to be in the market for while this TV deal still isn't completely figured out. We'll see what happens. Let me go. It's pretty dang hard to get over Doli's 22 RBIs in the postseason last year, then being a fan favorite, stinking it up the entire. It is crazy. It's crazy. That's why I'm like, I just don't think they're going to get rid of Adolis. I just can't see it happening. I think that they are going to hope that they can improve the swing, tweak the approach, and get him at least somewhat close, at least in the ballpark of 2023. I don't think Adolis is ever going to have a better season than what he did in 2023. And that's not me being a hater. That's just me acknowledging that was a season for the ages and not one that's easily duplicated. So for me, I don't think we should expect Adolis to get back to that 2023 peak form. But I do think that they are going to try to get him back at least in the ballpark, in the vicinity of 2023. I would really be surprised if they totally pivoted off of Adolis Garcia as an everyday starter. There's a lot of guys. I think if Doli was the only one this year that stunk it up, maybe you feel like a little bit more pressure to replace him. But because so many other guys stunk it up with Adolis, I think that the organization is going to be a little bit more apt to be forgiving with him. That's just my take. Would love for the Rangers to go out and get a big name outfielder and make some big changes, but I just don't know if it's going to happen. I do agree the Rangers need a DH. You remember we were DHing Travis Jankowski at one point this year. And I love me El Blondie, but I don't want to see Travis Jankowski manning the DH position ever again. We have got to be better and do better than Travis Jankowski as our DH. That happened multiple times this year. I'd love to say that was a one-game thing. That was like several games we trotted out El Blondie as our DH. Come on now. We got to go out and get somebody. Santander, Ozuna, both those guys could be DHs. I do kind of wonder, though, what are they going to do with Seager? This is back-to-back years that he's had injuries. Are you going to potentially move Seager more to a DH role every third or fourth game? And then getting an everyday DH doesn't make a lot of sense. I'm curious to see what they're going to do with Corey Seager in that DH role. If I'm Chris Young, I'm probably going that direction. So I think going out to get an outfielder makes a lot of sense. If you go out and get a top line outfielder, now you have a guy that can DH. If you want to play Doli, Carter, Langford, you've got that outfielder that can DH. And then when Seager needs a day at DH, you put that fourth outfielder that you're going to acquire via trade or free agency out in the outfield, and you give Doli a day or you give Evan Carter a day. I think the outfielder that can DH makes a lot of sense. So again, I think Santander, I keep going back to that name. If they can get him, I think Soto's going to be the prize jewel. I know a lot of people are going to have their eyes on Santander. He's not flying under the radar, but I would love to see the Rangers go after him for sure. 100%. Yeah, I was thinking actually about Steven Kwan when I was talking about contact hitters. The 370 to 280, baseball is a cruel game. It is a very cruel game. John was bringing up Doli's 2023, compare it to this year. Look, that's over the course of a season with Steven Kwan. Let me go to this comment. John says, what are my thoughts on Josh Smith for next year? My thoughts on Smith is I probably see him at this point going back to more of a utility role. I think Josh Smith had a great year. I don't know. I don't think the Rangers want Josh Smith out of the mix completely. I think Josh Smith is going to be in the mix, no doubt. Is he going to still have an everyday role, though, with a healthy Seager, Young, Simeon? I don't think you want to make Josh Smith an outfielder. So for me, it feels like Josh Smith is probably going to be that third or fourth platoon super utility guy, a bat off the bench if you need a lefty bat in a big spot. I don't see Josh Smith being an everyday dude next year, but I don't know what the Rangers are thinking with him. I know tonight, obviously, he goes 2 for 4. But look, let's just go wide frame here. Josh Smith's hitting 260 on the year. Yes, he's had a good season, 133 hits, 343 OBP, 13 homers. I mean, these aren't bad numbers, but they don't scream everyday starter. I think in a down year, Josh Smith was a light, like a bright light in a very down year for this lineup. But again, go wide lens, bigger perspective. Josh Smith's numbers are super utility platoon guy numbers. And I think as much as we love Josh Smith, that is the role he's probably going to assume. I don't think Josh Smith can sustain the difference maker role in this lineup. Yes, from night to night, given night here and there, he can hit a big walk-off home run. No doubt. And he did that a couple different times this year. Night in and night out, is Josh Smith a difference maker, a guy that's going to put you over the edge? No, I'd probably say I can't go there with him. But Josh Smith is a great player, and I do think the Rangers are going to find a role for him on the team next year, and perhaps a prominent role. We're talking about Corey Seager needing days here and there. I can imagine Josh Smith is going to be spelling Josh Young and Corey Seager next year. So I think we're still going to see Josh Smith quite a bit. I just don't think he's going to have the everyday spot in the lineup locked down like he did this year. I mean, that's just my take on it. I would love to hear CY, Bochy, anybody else chime in. Let's see what the WAR was. 3.6 WAR for Josh Smith this year. Not bad. Look, not bad. 3 wins, almost 4 wins above replacement. It's a good season. I'm not trying to hate on it. I'm not trying to say he can't start in the big leagues. I just think you look at Marcus Semien, you look at Corey Seager, Josh Young, the outfielders. Really, all Josh Smith can do is DH. And do you really want Josh Smith as your DH? Guys, I don't. I love Josh Smith. I don't want Josh Smith as everyday DH. Your DH needs to be a guy with pop. You look at all of the good lineups. Look at all the good lineups that are left. You tell me who has a DH that is Josh Smith comp. Nobody. I mean, we could go through the DHs of all the playoff teams. I don't think you're going to find one of those teams with a DH with the types of numbers that Josh Smith has. Everybody is pretty much big home run, big power guy in the DH spot. And I do think that's the recipe. I think you've got to have a DH that can hit for power. You've got to have a DH that can hit for average. And so we talked about Ozuna. We talked about Santander. I think there are other options out there that the Rangers need to pursue. We love Josh Smith for what he did in a dark year for the Rangers in a putrid offensive season. Josh Smith looked a lot better thanks to the entire lineup taking a step back. There weren't many guys in this lineup that I can say took a step forward. Corey Seager's Corey Seager. We're not really going to be too harsh with Siegs. I mean, look, did he have maybe a little bit of a down year compared to what he's capable of? Sure. Was Corey Seager the problem this year? No, he wasn't. Not at all. Let me keep going here. Are we finally going to trade Zeke Duran? We should. I said with Zeke Duran, you missed your opportunity to trade him twice, back-to-back years. Zeke Duran basically served himself up on a silver platter to be traded for value in 2023 and in 2024. Duran in 2023, in the World Series year, was hitting close to 300 going into the trade deadline. At least it was like high twos. Like it was above 250. I think it was even above 260, 270 he was hitting going into the trade deadline. And the Rangers decided to hang on to him. Then, beginning of 2024, fast forward, Zeke Duran struggles, but then they send him down to the minors, and he hits 5 home runs in 6 games right before the trade deadline. Again, dude is serving himself up on a silver platter. Trade me. Get value out of me. And the Rangers decide instead to call him up and use him at the big league level. I think the Rangers should have traded Zeke Duran both trade deadlines in back-to-back years. I think they would be wise to trade him. Zeke Duran's not playing anywhere. You're playing Josh Smith before you play Zeke Duran if everybody's healthy. So for me, I don't want to see Zeke Duran really continue to take up a spot on the major league roster. He's had some nice games over the course of the last several weeks, but look, Zeke Duran on the season, not hitting awesome. And I think that there are some other guys that are going to come up and probably overshadow him at some point anyways. You figure a guy like Walcott in a couple of years is probably going to be up. Again, you got to look at the future too. Zeke Duran has no place. Seager, Semien, Josh Young, those guys have the infield locked down for multiple years to come. Walcott's going to come up, and then you move Seager over to first base probably. Zeke Duran is not going to have a place on this team for years. So if you can get value out of him and upgrade another position, do it. That would be my opinion. I think one of Duran or Smith needs to be traded. We don't need both. I'm trading Duran before Smith, but you might not be able to get a lot of value out of Duran. With how he's done, I don't know. I don't know if you're going to be able to get a lot of value out of Duran at this point. I do think that Walcott potentially is going to be able to be moved around, but I'd like to see Walcott take over shortstop. Seager, I think, needs to eventually phase out to a DH or first base role. I think that there are guys coming up behind Corey that have better range and play the shortstop position better. I think Jonathan Ornelas is a better defensive shortstop than Corey Seager. Clearly, the offense isn't anywhere in the same world, but I think Jonathan Ornelas plays a better shortstop than Seager. I think Josh Smith probably plays a better shortstop than Corey Seager. But you want Seager to be in that everyday role. And I think Seager is still a very good shortstop. I don't think he's terrible defensively. I think he is average to above average. But I think that Seager eventually is going to need to move to a different role on the team as he ages, as he gets into his mid to upper 30s. So we'll see what happens, but I'd much rather trade Duran over trading Smith. I think you keep Smith to be that super utility platoon guy. You could play Josh Smith just about anywhere on the left side. You could do an outfield spot start if you really were desperate. You can DH him if you really need to. I don't want to see Josh Smith DH anymore. That's just me. If Marcus Semien finally relinquishes a little bit from playing every day as he continues to get up there, I think that Marcus Semien getting spelled by Josh Smith makes a lot of sense too. So if you've got Simi and you've got Josh Young and you've also got Corey Seager needing different days off, now you've got a pretty good role for Josh Smith, actually, where he's probably going to be playing maybe 3 out of 5 days. We'll see. We'll see what happens there. I'll keep going here. Yeah, Vortex Vibes. Luis Ariz is one of my favorite players for this reason. The guys that only strike out less than 100 times in a year, those are my kind of players. I love the guys with more walks than strikeouts. I mean, that is a rare thing to see these days. So Luis Ariz, right up my alley there. John, I'm not too high on any of these guys. Foscue is a tough watch. Foscue right now, I mean, look, he is, let's see, 0 for 4, 053. I don't know why Foscue is still even getting at bats. Look, Duffy and did I see Harris are now up with the team? Duffy and Dustin Harris are now up. Hopefully Dustin Harris can get all the DH spots that Foscue's been taking up from here on out, or you play Harris in the outfield and you let Doli DH. But I don't want to see Foscue again the rest of the season. Please. It's nothing personal, guys. He's hitting 053. Clearly over his skis. I would like to see Justin Foscue retool it for 2025. But I think right now, unfortunately, it looks like the Rangers really whiffed in back-to-back years. Wenzel was drafted 2019. Foscue was drafted 2020. First round. It feels like 2 back-to-back whiffs in the first round to me. And I know that Wenzel technically was like a competitive balance pick, but that's hurtful. When you have back-to-back picks in years 19 and then in 20, where your first rounders come up to the major leagues and just completely stink it up, it's disheartening. Makes you thankful for guys like Josh Young that came up and, didn't like light the world on fire out the chute, but came up and contributed well right away. Josh Young, of course, a first round pick. I think Young was in 2020 as well, wasn't he? And then we had another pick. It was either 2020 or 2021 was Rocker and Leiter. So I think in either 19 or 20, we got Josh Young and we got a competitive balance pick as well. So it was something weird like that. But Josh Young, clearly a little bit of a savior of the first round picks around that time. Wenzel, Foscue, not looking too good right now. Ornelas, look, I'm not super high on Jonathan Ornelas either. I do think he's got a great glove out there, good range out in the field, but I can't say Jonathan Ornelas is high on my list either. 172, Jonathan Ornelas. Let's see how many ABs he has this year. It's probably not many, so I hate to be unfair. He only has 29 at-bats this year, 36 career at-bats total. It's just so hard with some of these guys, y'all. They just have not had a lot of ABs. It's hard to make a final judgment on them. And you look at Foscue, I think he's up around 50 ABs, if I'm not mistaken. Actually, he's only at 38. So I do still think that some of the Rangers minor league apologists, if you will, are going to probably point to the low sample size. I just think at this point, shut it down for Foscue. Stop letting him just toil in the big leagues. Send him to the spring training facility. Let him gear up for 2025. Don't let him lose any more confidence at the big league level. Give Dustin Harris a shot. Let Matt Duffy play a little bit. I would like to see that over anything else, to be completely honest. Well, all right, y'all, we're going to start winding things down. We talked about Evo. We talked about the big ninth inning. We didn't really get into the box score a lot, but look, Rangers were 1 for 9 with runners in scoring position, 9 left on base. That should tell you all you need to know. The Rangers blew a lot of opportunities. Nice to see Nate Lowe and Jonah Heim tying up the game. Rangers got a couple of runs late in this one. That's not something that they have done all the time. Not something they've done all the time, but they do tie the game up late. You do wonder in a competitive year if Kirby Yates pitches the ninth inning instead of Josh Sborz. Tough for Josh Sborz. First inning off the IL, and you're thrown into the fire in a ninth inning where the game's on the line. I don't know how much I love that move, but maybe with a playoff spot on the line, the Rangers go Kirby Yates there. But Josh Sborz comes in a little rusty. Gives up 2 quick hits, did get 1 strikeout. The stolen base did not help, but tough spot for Sborz. Robertson came in, pitched quite well. But look, we will probably have to go ahead and take everything that Bochy and company do lineup-wise, pitching rotation, pitching move-wise with a grain of salt. They're probably trying out some different things here, trying to give guys some breathers. So it is what it is. The Rangers dropped this one 5-4. And at this point, we move on to tomorrow's game. Let's do a small preview of that. Padres, by the way, I'm looking at the front page of MLB. Finally, it's not a Yankees player and it's not a Dodgers player. It's a Padres player. San Diego turned a game-ending triple play that sent them to the postseason. That's pretty freaking cool. A triple play to send you to the postseason against the Dodgers. Shohei Ohtani was on deck. Sharp ground ball to third base, and a triple play is turned with Ohtani on deck. Miggy Rojas was up, the number 9 hitter. Ohtani's been leading off for the Dodgers. Rojas just squares one up, and he's not the most fleet of foot. And we get a step on the bag, a third, flip to second, flip to first. That's pretty cool. You go to the postseason on a friggin' triple play. Love it. Love it. These are the kind of moments, like if you're a baseball fan, I know it's hard. The Rangers aren't in it, but I love moments like that. I mean, these October, September, late September moments, there's a lot of really special ones in the mix. So I'm going to enjoy the postseason. I'm going to enjoy it a lot more when the Astros get knocked out. I see some Astros fans having some fun in the mentions. Just remember what happened last time y'all won the division. It didn't go so great. ALCS, anybody? ALCS 2023 replay, anybody? Okay. Let's just lock in on what actually happened after the Astros won the AL West last year. Means pretty much nothing. Have fun with that AL West title. And then losing in the playoffs. That's all I got to say on that. All right. Let's wrap up the show here. We've got tomorrow. Pitching matchup is going to be Bradford against Basso. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Basso is 1-0 with a 2.33 ERA on the year. Only 6 career games as a big leaguer. Lefty. Last time out did get roughed up by the Cubs. 4 2/3, 3 earned runs, 6 hits, 2 walks. So perhaps a guy that the Rangers will be able to get to. They have not faced the A's probable starter at all. So there's really no numbers that we can run through with you guys at this moment in time. But again, Cody Bradford on the bump tomorrow. Interested to see how he pitches in Oakland. Cody Bradford has not been good on the road this year. We've talked about the road to home splits. Cody Bradford's like a 250 pitcher at home ERA. On the road, I think it's over 8, and I'm not kidding on that. The splits at home, Cody Bradford is a 2.25 ERA at home, an 8.10 ERA on the road. So what I'm looking for tomorrow, can Cody Bradford have a good road outing? I'm not saying it's a thing at this point, but can Cody Bradford have a good road outing? That's what I'm looking to see tomorrow in the game. It'll be another late night, by the way. Appreciate all y'all hanging out, but it is another 8:40 Texas time start. At least they're starting before 9 o'clock. I remember when I was a kid, this is like late 90s, early 2000s, the games would start at I feel like 9:15 out in Texas. And that definitely starts getting a little bit late. Those games didn't end till after midnight. It was kind of fun staying up late. I always like listening to the radio guys. You know, I'd have to turn off the lights, mom and dad, give you the bedtime, but they'd let me listen to the radio. Fun memories, honestly. But I'm glad that they're starting the games a little bit earlier out on the West Coast now, doing the 6:40 thing. That does help some of the people on the East Coast and in the Central time zone a little bit. But another late night right on Rangers Live tomorrow. Appreciate all y'all tuning in. Thank you so much. Let me do one last go round of comments. Let's go to this one. John says, kind of cool seeing Profar on a playoff team. I always pull for the former Rangers. Me too. Padres are another team I'm not going to mind seeing do well. The Padres absolutely are a team that I think have some dudes that could potentially help them make a run. But you've got the Diamondbacks, you've got the Dodgers. There's going to be some good teams. But Yu Darvish, that's another guy on the Padres that I always root for. I love Yu Darvish. Profar, absolutely. I think the Padres are definitely a team you can look at as saying, hey, some former Rangers, wouldn't mind seeing them do well. Teams that I don't want to see do well, the Yankees, the Astros, look, the Dodgers, I'm not going to lie, not a huge Dodgers guy. I wouldn't mind seeing them get knocked out. when they got knocked out by the Diamondbacks. No tears were shed by me, that's for sure. Let's see. In the AL, nothing against the Guardians or the Orioles. Not going to mind seeing them. The Phillies, I don't know how I feel about the Phillies. I think the Eagles' hatred flows over a little bit into the Phillies for me. I'm not a big love to see the Phillies do well kind of guy. I will say this, playoff baseball is better when the big names are in it. I just got to be real about that. Like, I know there's a lot of people out there that love to cheer for the underdogs. And then you end up getting a really boring postseason when there's all the upsets. So, look, I think a lot of people would say the Rangers Diamondbacks series was a boring World Series. Look, I don't take it personally. Favorite team, diehard Rangers fan. I don't care what anybody says about that World Series last year. It was awesome. But I get it. You want to see some big names go to the bitter end. The further the Yankees make it, the better. And I would love to see a Yankees-Astros rematch with the Astros taking the fall. It'll be one of those rare times I cheer for the Yankees. But I want to see the Yankees get a little revenge on the Astros. So I would love to see that matchup. Phillies, I think if they can go, Dodgers can go a little far. That would be better for the game, I think, overall. But again, not going to be unhappy if any of the big names get knocked out. I'm all for the smaller market teams getting all the way to the World Series. All for it. So Padres, D-backs, Royals, I think those are the teams that I definitely would like to see do well for sure, more than anybody else. Again, my pick is Dodgers, Orioles, but I would like to see the Royals do well. I would like to see the Padres and the Diamondbacks do well. Everybody else I could kind of care less about, to be honest. The Brew Crew, look, I mean, if they went far, I wouldn't mind it. The Brew Crew have had a lot of postseason struggles, great regular seasons, bad postseason. So for me, it's got to be Diamondbacks, Padres, Royals. One of those three, please. And we'll see what happens from there. That's me. Natalie, no, I didn't see this article, but I'm going to have to check it out. Hopefully they do have a plan. I will say this, though, guys. Back issues are tough. You can come up with the best plan possible, but the back is so sensitive. You just don't know. You have a crash into the wall. You lay out to make a diving catch. You swing and you tweak something. It's just anything can happen with these back injuries. Talking about Evan Carter. So for me, I am not holding my breath that Carter is not going to need some maintenance days, maybe a couple of stints on the IL here and there. But I hope he has a very, very positive, healthy 2025. I don't want to see Evan Carter go through what he did this year. He ended the season in an 0 for 18. I got to imagine he's hungry to get back out there and right the ship. I'll have to check out the Kennedy Landry article. I hope that they do have a solid plan. Guys, I don't have a lot of faith and positive feeling about the Rangers medical staff. I'm not saying they don't know how to do their job, but we just had way too many injuries this year. I can't say I'm super high on our programs that we have going on with keeping guys healthy, preventing injuries. I think it's left something to be desired. And just being 100% real, it would be criminal for the Rangers to not be looking into those things in the offseason. If I'm the president, the general manager of the Rangers, I'm looking at everything that potentially went wrong this year, that did go wrong this year. And I'm saying, let's leave no stone unturned. We got to be better with the injuries and preventing injuries. So I don't think it's taboo, or I don't think it's controversial to throw out there. There's probably some improvement that could be made with the Rangers medical staff this year. And I guarantee the Rangers are looking at that in the offseason themselves, looking in the mirror, trying to evaluate and determine how they could get better. Let me see here. TikTok comments here. Yeah, Brewers. I got some Brewers fans chiming in. Padres fans. Orioles Brewers, huh? That could be a fun series. Orioles Brewers. We'll see what happens there. That could be fun. Somebody's asking, was I a Josh Hamilton fan? 100%. Love Josh Hamilton. Hambone, one of my favorite Rangers of all time. It probably is Josh Hamilton, then Beltre, then Seager. Those are probably my my trinity there, my three: Hamilton, Beltre, Seager. Some of the deep cuts, of course, Pudge Rodriguez. I know that this is controversial, but I do love the A-Rod years. A-Rod, probably growing up as a young boy, was my favorite Ranger when he played for us. As an adult, I can look back and see some of the slimy stuff, the steroids, going to the Yankees, forcing the trade, all that stuff. But look, I loved Alex Rodriguez when we signed him. Just the way he played the game, smooth shortstop, power. So probably Pudge Rodriguez, Alex Rodriguez, my 4 and my 5. There's a lot of great ones in there. It's hard to choose. Michael Young is another one I love. I don't know. It's tough for me when you get into favorite Rangers players of all time, but Josh Hamilton, absolutely one of my favorite Rangers. All right, y'all. Let's end on that. I appreciate all you guys. If you're not subscribed to the channel, not following the account yet, would greatly appreciate if you'd hit that follow or subscribe button and hit that notification bell or button as well. Get notified every time we post, every time we go live, so you never miss another edition of Right on Rangers Live. We're late night tonight with the Rangers out on the West Coast. We'll be late night again tomorrow night. Appreciate all of you guys tuning in. Thank you so much. John, great moment, by the way. Saw this right as I'm signing off. The ball going off Canseco's head. Yeah, that's classic Rangers baseball. That really is. The late 90s, early 2000s. I mean, the late 90s was better than the early 2000s, but I have grown to love like every era of Texas Rangers baseball, and I love reminiscing about it. And love all you guys. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for the comments, the views, the likes, the support. If you know somebody that loves the Rangers, loves baseball, football, NFL, college, basketball, NBA, send them my way. We cover mostly DFW teams here. We do the Texas Longhorns as well. We're here for a little bit of everything. We're closing out the Rangers season. Game 162 approaching, followed by some playoff baseball. We are going to finish it out strong here at Right on Rangers. Hope y'all have a great rest of your Tuesday night and a good Wednesday tomorrow. Hope you come back and hang out tomorrow night. And as I always say to end every show, God bless and go Rangers.